Hey, how's it going, everybody? Brett and Briggs again with you guys here today doing another pellet stove part installation video. And today we're going to be focusing on the exhaust fan motor for this Quadra-Fire Santa Fe pellet stove. Dad, what do you got to add on this before we dive on in?
Well, as always, welcome to the channel. And today, as Briggs has mentioned, we are going to be replacing this exhaust motor in this Santa Fe Quadra-Fire pellet stove. Please take a moment, subscribe, share, like, help us out. We'll make more videos for you and your family. Let's go.
All right.
Okay, friends, here we go. Now, I tell you, let's take a moment. Subscribe, hit the button, share, and like. Without you, we can't build the channel. Briggs and I would appreciate it. Okay, we're done with that. So these are the tools you'll need. Now here, this is an impact gun. You can use this, and you have an extension, a 1/4-inch adapter that goes into the impact, and this is a Phillips that goes into the impact, or we go back to the old-fashioned way, which is fine. It's going to take a little bit more work, but this is a regular Phillips. This is a ratchet, obviously, with a 1/4-inch and a 7/16 high heat silicone. You can use a little bit of that. This is the new motor. This is it. And here is a nice new shiny gasket. And so we're going to put all this together. And I tell you, this is going to be one heck of a project. But if we just take our time, have some fun, if you need to take some breaks, I understand. But we're going to do this together. And we are going to have a nice, soft, smooth, running exhaust fan that doesn't scream like a freight train. Let's go back to work. Hello, friends. Safety first. Unplug your stove prior to doing any work on your pellet stove. And if you feel uncomfortable doing work on your pellet stove, call your local service provider. Let's go back to work. Let's have some fun. Let's do it. Okay, here we go. This is the first step. Now, most of the time, you can get into this exhaust motor, and you could do it with a ratchet the old-fashioned way, but it's really difficult to get to. And the second step is dismantling the back of the stove, where you can have full access to the motor. You're going to get a good, safe seal. But to here, and most of it is that you see, everybody's got this nice little platform and you're working up here and it's just nice and easy, but in all due reality, when you're at home, here we go, we're just going to take it down, quicker please. Then here, when you're at home, you're like this with your tools and you're getting in there. I know you can do it, but it's going to take extra work. But if you do it the second way, which is dismantling the back, which we feel is the best way to install this exhaust motor, you have to disconnect the exhaust pipe from the back of the stove. You'll need some help to spin the stove around. I can do it easily here myself on this platform like this, but there's the back of the stove. And we're going to get right into the exhaust motor, and we're going to show you how to professionally and safely install a new one. Let's go. Ready, Briggs?
Ready, Dad.
Are you sure you're ready?
Oh, definitely ready.
All right, let's do it.
So, we're going to be focusing on taking off the 4 side panels on here. You're going to have 2 top side panels right here. Here's a better angle view. And you're going to have 2 bottom side panels. The top 2 are held by 2 nuts on top and the bottom, and the bottom ones are held just with 1 nut right in the middle. So we're going to go over here.
7/16 socket.
7/16. And we're going to take those off. Stay a little organized. We're going to move this off to the side. We're going to go to the bottom one right over here. Take that off. Just right to the side. So these newer model Santa Fe's have a little bit easier panels to take off versus the older ones. And this model, I believe, is a 2011. And so the newer model Santa Fe you got, the more user-friendly and technician-friendly it is. But either way, these are pretty solid stoves and pretty popular to use.
You remember the older models these doors were held by magnets, and they would just open it up. And if you have one of those, you just basically take off the hinges off the back and set it aside.
Oh, I definitely remember those ones. So, once we have all the panels off, you now have full access all inside. We're going to take our pieces here, and we want to stay organized. The more organized you are, the better. Right, Dad?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to do a full spin 360. This is going to be the main area we're going to be working with. As you can see, when we're in the shop, it's a lot easier to spin this stove and show you all, well, what your stove is. So right back to the back, and here, back to the main focus of today. So you can see all your components right here, but the main topic we're going to be on is the exhaust fan. It's located right in this area.
Well, put your hand in there and just
Sure.
spin it so they can kind of see it.
All right, there.
That's what we're going to be working on.
Yep, and the next step, so keep following.
Okay, here's the exhaust fan. Here's one that's out of the stove right now. And so around the circumference, there are 6 screws and or bolts that need to be attached to the carriage with a gasket. I'm going to set this aside. Here's the one that's actually in the stove. So up in this area in here, maybe I get a flashlight. Here we go, where my finger is. Right around up in here, around the circumference, are all these bolts. So you could go the old-fashioned way. You can get in here with this ratchet, 1/4 inch, and you try to see if you can find one. You unscrew it, and you get to see the other one, and then back here you're fighting it. And good golly, sooner or later you're going to get the darn thing out of there. But when you do, then the old gasket needs to be replaced. So when you put the new one in, which will be right here, you're going to have a new gasket that has to be attached to this, and you have to get it back up in there and tightly secure the 6 bolts or screws to where you get a tight seal. So if you don't do it right the first time, you're going to have to do it a second and third time, and at that time you're going to throw this whole darn stove in the river. So the main thing is safety. You want to make sure that it's securely and professionally put in so you don't have any exhaust leaks.
So these next steps of what we're going to focus on is we're going to be removing this control board area, the vacuum switch, and if your stove has it, we're going to be disconnecting the hopper safety switch. So first of all, we're going to take, if your control board has it, this bracket off from the control board to help hold it in, and we're going to gently remove the control board, and we're going to set this off to the side. We're then going to take the hopper safety switch and we're going to disconnect it. It should be a simple press and see if I can get it just without a tool. You can disconnect like that and set that to the side. I'm going to then move the stove so you can have a better view. So this whole control board bracket apparatus will usually have about 2 screws right here. Dad, are they able to see this pretty well?
Yeah, there's 2 screws holding that control board bracket in there.
Perfect. And then the vacuum switch here, you got 2 screws. So what we're going to do, we're going to go up here. And we're going to gently remove it.
Let's spin it and let them see exactly what you're letting down. So
Sure.
Spin the stove if you can do it. I'll get in there.
Let's see how agile I can get.
Beautiful, right there.
So right there, so you can see how this will gently just kind of set to the side. The whole wire harness right there. So, again, stay organized. Keep your screws off to the side. We're going to go over here. We're going to work on the vacuum switch.
I guarantee you on this project, just do a little at a time, take a little break, get a little sandwich, some iced tea or whatever you're drinking, and then come back to it. And so it's just a little patience. Briggs has a lot more than I do, but I know you at home, don't get frustrated. We know you can do this.
So this is a very important step to have out of the way, because if you don't disconnect these, and if you try to start taking off this back panel, and when you start moving it, these things are already stuck there and the wires will pull, and then it just gets a little frustrating. So just having these out of the way will just save you guys, well, more of your patience level and make the job a little easier. Okay, now we're going to remove the holding screws that are on this back panel. And basically they can vary a little bit at where their locations are, but a lot of it, this model, they're typically in the general area. For this one, you're going to have 3 up top here, you're going to have 1 in the center, and then you're going to have 1 on each side in these general areas. So this one is going to have around 6. We're going to take each one off. I counted that right, 6, right?
Yeah, I think it was 6. See, these stoves are mass produced, so don't worry so much about the screws. All these screws are the same size, so you just put them like in one little bunch and you're good to go.
All right. Next steps for this top panel up here, we're going to be looking right under here. So on this one, there's going to be an Allen screw right about in this general area. Again, some models may different, but for this one, you're going to have one right here, and it's going to be on the other side as well. So we're going to loosen that, and this one's going to be our friend. We can hand loosen that for the rest of the way. I'm going to set down this right over here. I'm then going to give you guys a better view for the other one. And right about here, loosen that guy. All right. And we got another friendly one here. So we're going to take that off. We're going to put that to the side. And that step is done. All right, so for this next part, if you got an extra set of hands, very well recommended. You can do it by yourself, but if you got a buddy, a friend, or a family member, ask them, and it'll make this process a lot easier.
Now, when we take this off, this cast iron lid, you got to be careful. Don't drop it. It's very, very expensive. So remember, it's going to flip. So just kind of keep it level. So Briggs and I are going to get each side. Now, this is attached to this panel here. So we're going to take this whole thing off, and then we're going to set it on its side. But when we do it, be very careful. You may not see it in the camera. Make sure that this lid doesn't fall off and break on the ground or whatever flooring that you have. So just be careful. So here we go.
Well, one quick thing I want to just add on too. So things that are going to catch on here is going to be exhaust tube. There's going to be an inner lip that's kind of, if you follow my hand, going to be inside of this hopper right here. And one last thing, don't forget about this hopper safety switch wire. There's a rubber grommet in there. So those are usually the main things that will catch you on here. But if you keep an eye on it, well, it'll go a little bit smoother. So Dad, you ready to attempt this?
Yeah, a lot of times it's just like bim bam boom, it's off. And a lot, because these are mass produced, and a lot of times they just, it's cumbersome. So we're going to try it, and if it doesn't come off real easy, oh well, you'll run into the same thing. So here we go.
All right.
Okay, let's pick it
Hope
up.
you guys like puzzles.
Let's pick it up, see if it'll go. That's nice.
Right there. Okay, hold it there. I'm going to grab this grommet. It should loosen. It's set. All right.
He took the grommet, you'll see it on that other side. He took that off. That was the hopper lid safety switch. So here we go. So when we set this down, we're going to set it down. I don't know if you can see it from here, but I'm going to grab it, son.
All right.
I'm going to hold this right here, and I'm going to actually lay it down like this, gently on your floor. Now we're going to go to the next steps. I got to set this down. Okay, here it is. Here's this motor here. You could do it the old-fashioned way. You can try to go in from the right or the left, and you got your ratchet in there and you're fighting. And you can see right here, these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the other is the 6th one. You want to get those out of there. But good golly, way underneath this lip and behind this 6-inch plate is this darn gasket. And this is so cumbersome. But anyway, here it is. And you can have access to it, but you know what? You can have even more access to it, and I would definitely recommend it. Briggs is going to show you how to just take a few screws out and drop this panel down, and then bim, bam, boom, you're ready to do it.
So yeah, you can see right as it is, folks, that how much more room you got. And so to kind of give you the full, I guess you could say, range of motion to work, there's going to be a few more screws for this bottom panel. I think there's about a total of 5. So
don't be worried, these are all the same.
Yeah, so if you do kind of mix up the Phillips screws, it's not the end of the world. But again, the more organized you stay, the better. All right, and the last one here, if I can get that, I'm gonna put that to the side. Again, stay organized. And so for max room, this panel with a little bit of shimmy, come on down like this. Now you see there's a lot of wires connected here. And you know, you can disconnect this if you want. Just be careful to put it back the same way. For us, a lot of times, we'll just keep that connected just to kind of keep things smooth. Because right here, even at this level, you still have plenty of room to work with. And right then and there, it is ready for the next steps.
Well,
Unless you got something else to add.
Well, you know, you could do now. I mean, if you wanted to take a regular ratchet in here and you can just get right in here and you could just go to town. You just unloosen each one of them all the way around, take off these 2 wires, which we'll show you, and this whole thing will drop down. So if you don't have an impact, you can just use just a regular ratchet. But again, good golly, who designed this one? I tell you, this is the same process if you have a Quadra-Fire Castile. It's the same position, same process, different panel, but this is, you have to get to it like this. Look how easy this is. My gosh, this is good. Let's do it.
All right, guys, after all that, now we can focus on taking it out this exhaust fan. So when you have full access here, we want to first remove these 2 wires. So just gingerly unplug those. We're going to set them to the side. And then we're going to focus on these 6 screws on the perimeter of this fan. So I like to start a little lower to get the bottom ones out. And I'm going to gingerly work myself around the whole circle.
See, these are just sheet metal screws.
Yup. So, actually, no, these are regular ones. Sometimes they're sheet metal, sometimes they're not.
No, this is a sheet metal here.
That's a sheet metal?
Maybe they just combine both of them. Who cares? But
Either way, they're screws.
They're screws.
So, when it gets to the last one, I took all 5 out. I want to support it with my other hand here. Screw this. Put this to the side. And then we're going to gently take out the old fan. And after all that, there we go. We set it to the side. You can see the old gasket that's there. And once we get rid of that, we're then going to prep and get ready to install the new one.
What I do, when you get this old gasket off, you can get like a wire brush, whatever you want. Just kind of get in there and just clean the rest of that garbage out of there so you have a nice clean surface. Just kind of go around, you kind of get the picture. But good golly, look at this is where the gasket goes. Then you got a plate here, and then you got the darn motor again. Who in the world designed this one? Well, it is what it is. We'll go to the next step. We're going to put in the new one.
And put it to more perspective. Imagine trying to do all that, all from this angle or that angle.
No, thank you, son.
All right, guys, now we got our new fan and we're going to start doing the installation process. So one thing, what we did ahead of time, we pre-sealed the gasket on here with high heat sealants. Dad, if you want to show them what are some examples of sealants we have used.
Well, here's one, but just put a little bit around the circumference, and then Briggs is going to highlight which holes to line up the gasket with the 6-inch metal plate.
Right, and the sealant, they'll come in small tubes like that, or the bigger one where you can put in some different tools we need. But for right now, we're going to start focusing on the actual holes where these screws are going to go. So what I like doing, what I found to be the most consistent, is lining up this gasket with these oval holes. So not directly these ones, these adjustable ones.
Good
go
golly,
for
not
these
those.
ones. I've had the best of luck of going for these guys. If it does work and you want to try this and works for you, all hats to you. But in my experience and my dad's, these ones have always been the most reliable. So with all that in mind, we're going to line these holes up in here and have our screws ready.
Well, you know, son, before you do it, when you put that gasket on with the sealant and you line it up with the 6 holes, wait about 15 minutes or so the gasket and the silicone solidifies and won't move around, because if you don't wait and you put that motor and gasket up in there, that gasket will move, and if it moves,
it's fun time.
it's frustrating as a hoot. So
Yeah.
anyway, wait about 15 minutes for the gasket to seal onto that plate, and then you're going to line up everything with the 6 holes around what plate, son? What holes are we lining up?
With the ovals.
Ovals, and then behind it you're going to line it up. Do it again.
So right up here. So oval, hole to
There's
here.
a hole. There's 6 of them. Okay, go.
And so I'm going to gently raise it up. You may have to get past this part right here. And to do that sometimes, I might have to gently tuck in through. And then I'm going to slowly line it up. So you're going to do this one at a time. I like taking the extension off and using the advantage of the magnetic tip to nicely thread these on. And you go part of the way, and you're going to work nice and gingerly. This thing might move around a little on you, but it's okay. Each screw that you get in, it's going to make the job a little easier. So this is where...
Don't give up. This is a real difficult job, but again, with the good iced tea and taking some breaks, you're going to get this done correctly and professionally, and most importantly, safely.
Yeah. And sorry, I didn't mean to steal your light, Dad, but as you can
Okay,
see with
son.
all the different angles, they make more, right?
Yep.
With all the different angles, you want as much light and as much room as you can. Now again, for reference, imagine doing all this from these 2 sides. So if you want a challenge, you can go that way, but for this one, this has worked the best. Line up this one, and with each one going in, it just gets easier. And so we're going to finally get the last one in. Might have to do a little searching because it might have shifted just a little bit. Let's get that last one in. Oh, good golly. Right there. There it is. Perfect. So, once we pre-threaded them, I can then slowly start working my way around. Not tightening them all the way yet. And the reason being for that is because I kind of want a good evenness for this seal. And with all the work you can see of getting to this part, you want to do this right the first time. Because the last thing I'm betting you guys want to do is go back in here and do this a second time because there wasn't a good tight seal. So right here we're going to do a test spin. That spin's good. This thing's held on strong. And don't forget, we want to connect these encapsulated wires. Now, make sure you connect them right. You want to make sure that male end goes right in the center. Sometimes that thing can tuck right a little below or right a little above, and it can cause an inconsistent connection. Right then and there, we got it in, double checking. Once we have it all connected, we're all good. Anything else to add, Dad?
No, well done, and we're going to wrap it up and put the rest of these panels back on, and it's really not that difficult. Most of the bolts and the screws, everything is pretty much the same, and so we're almost done. Thank you. We'll go to the next step.
Time for puzzles. All right, so now that we got your new fan all in, we're going to be focusing on putting the stove back together, and just like a puzzle, we're going to be working backwards. So first of all, before you put this back panel on, you want to make sure all these wires are connected to where they originally at, if you so disconnected any in the process. And we're going to slowly put this guy back as so. And then we're going to work backwards.
Go!
Oh,
Speed it up, speed it up.
All right, thank you.
Viewers are getting antsy.
Oh man, that concierge service though, right? I'll work backwards a little bit. I don't want to tighten these all the way because how these are all produced and everything else, if you start tightening them prematurely, these holes could be slightly off and these screws may not be your friend and go in. And so just like the exhaust fan, you want to pre-thread them all. Boom. And then tighten them. Save you a little headache. Definitely save you the chance of stripping screws. You don't want that. Bing, bang, boom. Bottom panel's on.
Nice. Go to the next one.
All right, let's get that top panel, Dad.
Okay, you can see when I just picked it up, I'm keeping my thumbs on this hopper lid so it doesn't drop off. So I'm going to give half of it to Briggs.
Thank you.
Definitely get some help at the home. Get one of his family members to come in and help.
I'm going to lift this up, and before we put this down, whoever's on this side with the hopper safety lid, remember this rubber grommet. You want to funnel it back to where you originally took it off. And this is, again, where my dad's favorite word is patience comes in. Because you may have to start doing a little bit of a balancing act while safely putting this in. Aren't you glad you didn't choose this side? And
Heck no, what in the world's going on over there?
All the fun. Now, since it's in, we can gently start lining it up. Alright. Dad, how is the ground area in that area?
I'm in over here. Remember, on each side, there are 2 bolts here. So this panel here is good. And this one here is lined up. Is yours lined up over there?
Mine's all lined up. And so again, on each side, you remember where that Allen screw went? So there's a couple grommets that are going to set in there before the Allen screw.
2.
And then you want to make sure
One for you.
Your exhaust fan, this is in line with the main hole. And then you also want to make sure that right here, these are poking through these holes as well. And you want to make sure you can do a double check. Again, with that hopper safety switch, you want to make sure there's no pinch lines. If need be, we're going to do a double check there, and we are good so far. I want to realign this wire real quick. Dad, if you could support this a little bit, and lift this up, and take these out all the way. And even if we've done this a few times, folks, but even with some of our experience, sometimes we might overlook something, but you know, that's okay. We're humans too. And if we have to recorrect something just so it runs a lot better, it is okay.
We're just giving you reality here. There's so many self-help videos out here where it's just bam, bam, boom, and then you're done. Well, no, this is reality. You run into a lot of cumbersome things.
So we'll gently put this down here. Let's realign it again.
Okay, I have my side screwed in over here.
You have your side screwed in there?
Yep.
Okay, it's screwed in here. So your grommet's in.
Yep, there's your screw right there.
Okay, 1 second. Put that in.
Yep.
Perfect. We'll put this in.
See, he was lining this panel up with these 2 studs here, or these bolt heads. And pretty soon we're just going to put on the nuts and put in the screws, and you're all back together again. So we're very, very close now.
So you have your Allen wrench in?
Yep, in.
Got mine in too, and there you have it, folks. You have that part. We then want to finally add the screws on this back panel.
Go.
Got those last ones?
Yep.
All right.
Might as well just keep going with it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Well, at home you're going to be down on the ground. It's not this easy, but here we go. We want to make sure that you can see everything.
All right. You want to double check that our audience can actually see this still from our camera angle, Dad?
Yeah, I'll walk on over here.
All right. This is all being done almost live here.
That's good.
That's good. All
Yeah.
right. Get these in. Again, I like doing a little bit of the pre-threading because with all the sheet metal on, they can kind of deviate a little bit from where it's supposed to be. But as long as, again, you do the pre-threading method, you should have less headache.
And again, Dad, what's our favorite word with this? Or yours?
Patience.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, good golly.
Ah, patience is key. And that's in. Yeah, I believe this is the last one. Nope, this is the last one. There you have it, folks. A little patience, a little teamwork and everything else. Your mini top panel's on, and so is your back panel, and move on to the next steps. All right, and for one of our last steps, we're gonna start putting back the harness brackets here. So we wanna line this guy back up here. You got your switches, you got your reset button. Again, we're gonna take our screws, just do a little bit, putting it in. And do the same one down here. And again, just doing a little bit, putting that in. Tighten that. No need for too tight on these guys. This is just holding the control board. That one's good. You're in. This part, solid.
Okay.
Now we're gonna get the vacuum switch in. So if it's got that metal piece, they usually go right on the outside here. Do a little pre-threading. Do it again. There we go. Your vacuum switch is nice and secure. Now, one last thing, Dad, you want to shine a little light in here? A few last things, I should say.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it.
So we want to carefully put back our control board. We want to light up that part of the board with this opening right in here. And again, take your time on it, because this is one part you do not want to damage. It's a very pricey part. Once you have it in, it is good. We then want to replace the brackets. And then finally, don't forget your hopper safety switch. Put that in. It snapped good right there. And then also, real quick guys, take a double look in here just in case you don't see any disconnected wires, because when you start moving this around, you can kind of see all these different connections. You don't want anything to, well, get disconnected. So just do a double quick take in here. One last glance through before sealing it all up, just to make sure your stove runs all good. But right then and there, we're gonna go for the last step.
Nicely done.
Now after all that, this step, you guys are masters. So we're just gonna put this right back on.
Side panels back on.
It's the side panel, so you want to take this side, you want to line it up right in these holes. Did you get that? Right
There's
here
the
to
hole.
here.
Yep.
Put that on here. If I can line it up. Make sure they go right back down there. Again, finally, line up these two notches right in there. If you can see that well?
Yeah, pretty well.
Pretty well? Okay.
They'll get it.
Oh yeah.
They can do that fan, they can certainly do this.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt to that. So finally, do some small pre-threading all right in here. We're gonna tighten. Let's see how quick that is, folks. We'll go for the final side over here, and you guys get it. Get that front part on, line it up. Get this part on, line it up.
Oh, take a moment and please subscribe, like, and share. This has been a hoot, but hopefully it's helped some people out there, some families out there.
It's been an adventure.
This has been an adventure, son. Yes.
And then one last hole. And right there you guys have it. You finally have a new exhaust motor in your Santa Fe pellet stove.
Nicely done. When you're done there, just seal back up your exhaust pipe to the back and make sure there are no smoke leaks. Take a flashlight after your first burn with a flashlight again and make sure that you're not seeing smoke. If you see smoke, reseal it. Safety first.
Alright everyone, after that long adventure, hopefully this has solved the issue on replacing the exhaust fan on your Santa Fe pellet stove. Dad, any last thoughts? This has already been a long video.
I know, but thanks for viewing in today. But I tell you, this particular repair is one of the most labor-intensive repairs out there in the industry, in my opinion. I tell you, I know that you at home can do this. Just take your time, have some fun, take some breaks. Like,
Share.
subscribe, help us build the channel. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much.
All right, see you guys.